friends, family, and fellow card fighters from around the world. Welcome to today's deck profile, which will be a standard Dragonic Blademaster deck. It's my own spin. I quite enjoy it. I think it's good fun, and yeah, hope you guys like it too, and hopefully it brings someone some inspiration. Yep, let's get right into it. That's mine. Play the matching starter for Blademaster, the Wyvern Kid Lagra. For grade 3s, I only play 3 Blademasters. So its skill's pretty, long. Its first skill is if your opponent has no rearguards, this unit gets 5k and a critical. That's a continuous Vanguard skill. So its second skill, which makes the first skill good and make it active, is the second skill is act Vanguard once per turn. If Wyvern Strike Doha and Wyvern Strike Garin are on your rearguard, Soul Blaster grade 3, discard 2 cards from hand, retire all of your opponent's rearguards, and call a vision token, which is one of these guys, to rearguard, and at the end of the return, retire it. And vision tokens are 13k base with a critical and have twin drive. So it's essentially a 2 Vanguard swing ability without actually restanding your Vanguard, which is pretty nice. You get 4 checks, you get a double critical swing plus an additional Vanguard type swing on the rear. So yeah, it's good to have, good to go. The reason I play 3 is because you need a grade 3 in Soul, and I think playing 4 when you don't really get to use it the first time you ride it, if you ride it first, is a bit clunky, and it only gives you really access to 1 win con, so I only play 3. On to the next grade 3, I play 3 copies of Dragonic Waterfall. He's the original Kagura boss monster for Standard, came out in set 1. His first skill is Vanguard on place, choose an opponent's grade 2 or greater rearguard and retire it. Pretty easy. Its second skill is when it attacks, Soul Blaster grade 3, and until the end of the battle, this unit gets 10k crit plus 1 until the end of turn, and your opponent cannot call Sentinels to rearguard from hand. To guard circle, I should say. So it's it has a critical swing, guard restrict. It's a good alternate finish. It's a really good final turn finisher for the deck. Once you do a couple, if you can pull it off, once you do a couple of board wipes with Blademaster and a couple of critical swings, finishing off with this guy who can stop any of their perfect guards is a really good way to round off the game. So yeah, 3 waterfalls. Next for grade 3s, I run 2 Shine Bardiche Dragons. I think it's Bardiche. Might be another way to say it. It's a grade 3 searcher for Blademaster. It's when placed top +1, look at the top 7 for Dragonic Blademaster, and if you add a card to hand, he gets 5k. So it allows you to search. He's a decent first ride target. Again, helping you search him out. He doesn't require any grade 3s in Soul, and that additional 5k just makes a little swing. And it's a Vanguard rearguard skill, so it's available at any time once you can call grade 3 rearguards. So yeah, 2 of that. And finally for grade 3s, I run a total of 10. I run 2 copies of Fire Rage Dragon. I'm not sure how many people would play this, but I personally I think it's a lot of fun. The skill is when placed, counter +1, soul +1, put the top card of your deck into the drop zone, choose the same number of your opponent's rearguards as the grade of the card, the one that you check from the top, and retire them. If no cards were retired, this unit gets a critical, and that's a Vanguard and rearguard skill. So yeah, I just find the fact that you can use this skill, retire up to 3 units, or go completely the opposite way and get a critical rearguard swing, which is just fun. Yeah. If you want a bit more consistency, I'd recommend running 4 Shine Bardiches instead of 2, but just for my own fun, I played 2 Fire Rage. So under grade 2s, I run 4 copies of Berserk Dragon, as does pretty much every Kagura deck in Standard. For those of you who don't know his skill by now, it's when placed, counter +1, sub +1, retire an opponent's rearguard, and this unit, and if you're on a Vanguard, draw a card. Cool. His second skill is when it attacks a Vanguard, if you have more rearguards than your opponent, this unit gets 3k. So, if you do what the deck is meant to be doing and you're retiring stuff, he's a 13k. If you ride him as your grade 2, you can take out a rearguard and draw a card. So, he's good to have. 4 of is nice. Most people think the same. That's why he's generally a 3 to 4 in almost every deck. So, yeah. 4 Berserks. Next, I run 3 copies of Wyvern Strike Doha. One of the combo pieces needed to make Dragonic Blademaster work. So that skill is when placed from hand, counterblast, search your deck for Wyvern Strike Garin, call it to rearguard and shuffle your deck. So you automatically looks for the grade 1, which is really good in getting Blademaster off, especially because Blademaster's skill is an act, so it's not a prerequisite to have him on the field before you use it. I mean, when you ride him or anything. His second skill is during the battle it attacked, if your opponent has no rearguards, your opponent cannot call normal units from hand to guard circle. So it's not they can still use draw PGs, but basically prevents all of those 10k, 15ks that might be amongst your grade 1s and 2s with other skills that might affect as well. I believe it also means no grade 1 sentinels, because they're not triggers. So, yeah. So, just 3. 3 works for me. Just because I run 3 Blademaster, I think just having 3 of it is fine. Then rounding off my grade 2s, 3 copies of Dragon Knight and Harlem. On place, counterblast, choose an opponent's back row rearguard, retire it, and he gets 5k. So, he's good. He's a 15k hitter. For a counterblast, you retire something, 15k. It's pretty easy, pretty generic. Yeah, I like it. I think it's just a good little toolbox. On the grade 1s, I play 4 copies of Flame of Hope Elmo. Again, it's one of those cards that every Kagura deck plays, 3 to 4 from what I've seen. It's during the battle that this unit boosted, it gets 3k, so it's an 11k booster. And its secondary skill is when your opponent's rearguard is retired during your turn, retire this unit, and you can draw 1 and countercharge 1. So it's pretty good for, you call it for a turn, use it as booster, and then next turn when you're pulling off all your combos in the main phase, you can get some of those resources back. So it's a definite 4 of in my opinion. I personally wouldn't play him at less than 4 because he is the resource of this deck. So yeah, 4 of every turn. Then I run 3 copies of Embodiment of Armor Bar. Like Harlem, he's pretty generic in that every Kagura deck has access to him. He came out with the trial deck and got reprinted a few times. His skill is on place, count +1, sub +1, choose one of your opponent's grade 2 or less rearguards in the same column as this unit, retire it, and if you have more rearguards than your opponent, this unit gets 5k. So it's just another way you can chain retire things with various skills. If you're not wiping the board with Blademaster, it's a good way to do some damage. So yeah, I like him at 3. I think it's a solid number. It just puts that extra pressure, gives you other options outside of your Vanguard retiring things. Yeah, just a 3. Then I run 3 copies of Lizard Soldier Raupia. I think that's how you say it. Rau, yeah. Basic skill, Vanguard rearguard. When your opponent's rearguard is retired during your turn, this unit gets 5k until the end of turn. So if he's on the board when you've got Dragonic Blademaster, he can, if against another Force and Protect deck, he can get up to 25k if they have a full board. Excel can get higher numbers depending on how many Excel units they have. But yeah, so you can hit really big numbers with him. He's a fantastic booster. He's a good attacker if you need him to as well. So yeah, 3 of is comfortable. I would probably bump him up to 4 if I had the space, but 3 is still, really nice. And then finally, for my grade 1s, I run 3 copies of Wyvern Strike Garin. Again, like Doha, because I run 3 Blademaster, I'm only running 3 Garin. You need Garin for that Blademaster Doha Garin combo, where you wipe the whole board and get everything going. His first skill is Continuous Rearguard. During your turn, if your opponent has no rearguards, this unit gets 5k, so he's a 13k base. If your opponent has no board, put that behind Doha. You've got a 23k column, swinging with a bit of a guard restrict. So, yeah. It's a good column. His second skill is Rearguard. When this unit attacks, when it boosts, Doha, if that attack hits, counterblast 1, draw a card, and soul charge 1. So, a bit more draw power. Put stuff into the soul if you need it, which you really only need it for grade 3s, to be honest. But yeah, 3 is a good number. If you're going to play Blademaster, you should run all the combo pieces at 3 minimum. Generally, you'd play it at 4 for a Blademaster deck, but as I said, because I'm running only 3, I decided 3 for the whole chain works for me. Then on to triggers, it's pretty simple. I run 6 crits of, different arts, because crits are fun. And 2 generic draws, 4 Wyvern Strike Barries, Wyvern Guard, draw PG, and then 4 heals. Because I think that's pretty standard for a Kagura build, especially because we don't have access to front triggers, or there's no stand triggers in standard, so fun times. So that's the main deck, and for myself, I tend to use Force 1. I find in a deck where your finishing monsters are swinging in critical, and you can even have a critical rearguard if you try, and especially with guard restrict and whatnot, and the use of calling a vision token with Twin Drive, I find this deck is much better suited to Force 1 than Force 2. Some other people might disagree. If you do, feel free to let me know why Force 2 might work in this deck, but in my experience, Force 1 is a better option for this deck. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope it inspired someone to potentially make their own Blademaster deck. And yeah, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys on the next one.